was a little nerve-wracking. I thought we were like on a Tonight Show or something. You're like, here we go. Good morning, family. Good morning, friends. Good morning. Dear ones, none among us have all the answers. No single entity can map a clear path to peace and freedom, but each time we show up to the questions, God meets us there, enabling our creativity, opening possibilities, lingering in the struggle, in gratitude for the sustaining accompaniment in the Spirit of Christ, we gather.
The Spirit of Christ moves freely through the world. She makes herself known wherever she desires, in sources of pain, in shocking and scandalous, in the hauntings of the past and the promises of the future. No doctrine or institution can contain or confine her. We rejoice in a God whose wisdom roams free. In our questions, creativity, possibility, and in struggle, as you gather this morning, we invite you to join us in singing. If you are in person, we invite you to stand as you are able. If you are joining us online, we invite you to sing loud and strong from your couch, car, or whatever you are. We welcome one another as we join our voices together wherever we are. Somehow, both of the work of uncovering what we did not know was there, and the work of seeing what we knew was there the whole time. Truth is taking off the bandage, so the wound can really heal. Often, it is the most painful possibility, and yet, seeing the truth, that truth leads us to the good work that waits for us. For the endless possibilities to create what we did not know could be created, we searched, we found truth, and how we get to work. This light centers us. It is the blending of the memory of saints and dear ones. This illumination reminds us that our questions, our creativity, our imagination will guide us as we strive to live as followers of the way of Jesus.
Divine love, you have woven life together so that we depend on each other. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the belonging we seek, all held together by a larger web of life. As greed and exploitation stretch thin the resources of our shared lives, you call us to work of reimagining, how to contribute, how to receive, how to heal and repair. Teach us how to be faithful in these days. May the peace and the waters of our lives be with you.
And also with you.
To those online, we invite you to share this ancient greeting in the chat. And for us in the sanctuary, please, we invite you to turn to the camera and say hello. Good morning to all worshiping with us in digital space. For those in the sanctuary, we invite you to share this ancient greeting with those seated near you, probably at a distance.
Peace be with you.
Good morning. It is so good to be here, to gather in this place, to share together in this time of spirit and life and love and the goodness of all here. Thank you. Thank you for your presence, for showing up for and with one another. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you for showing up online and being gathered. I'm Pastor Jenn. My pronouns are she, her. And as you could tell, I'm just tickled to get to be with you this morning. It's such a joy. This is how we know with whom we're gathered, and you don't have to do it. So if you want to check in, just to share your name, any information that's helpful, you could hold up your phone like you're going to take a picture, and it'll take you to a link that's also in your program and online. So you'll have a minute to catch that. If phones are put away and that's a good practice for you, you can just scribble on the back if you want to write name and any information. That's a way we can connect about some of the things I'm going to share. You can also call or come find me, so there's a plethora of ways to do that. But just again, that's a piece. We made a tiny little name change in an effort to hopefully ease any confusion. Sorry, Coffee and Conversations, it's been a long time coming. So Conversations at the Mule on Tuesday. So Tuesdays, this is where we gather for conversation, very informal, just a space to share our lives, the best books we're reading, music, I hope, theology, or just whatever at the table. It's really lovely. So if 10:30 is a time you can come, wonderful. I know that does not fit in all of our schedules. So hear me, I mean this. If there's another time you would like to gather, that little check-in sheet or come find me, we'll do it. We'll have conversation at the Mule on an evening or can go for a walk. So just a note about that, that's our regular rhythm of gathering, but we can always create more space and time to be together. So let us know if that's helpful. Today is another space and time we are going to be together. 1 o'clock at the Nature Center, we'll meet in the parking lot to go on a creation walk. What is a creation walk? We're going to walk in nature together. It's really simple. So make sure you've got some comfy shoes. It should be lovely. The Nature Center is really shady, so it's a beautiful space. We'll just take our time. Slow walk and just enjoy and appreciate. Hopefully that's enough time to grab some lunch, or if you want to get there a few minutes early with a sandwich, there's lots of great space to picnic. So we may set up a few more of these going out, but this is our final one as a part of this series as of now. So anyone who's interested in a walk and just go be in creation together and marvel and wonder and ooh and ah at mushrooms and leaves and whatever we find. 1 o'clock today at the Nature Center. Justice Collaborative will be meeting today, and I know there's some really important information and some grant requests. Again, an opportunity to check in about the life of justice and what's happening and to bring your voice. Anyone and everyone is welcome. Justice Collaborative will be meeting in the parlor today. So please, if you just want to pop in and see what's going on, you are welcome. Anyone is welcome. This is one of the 3 ways we live our lives together. We do community, spirituality, and justice as a way to kind of organize ourselves. So this is spirituality met last week. Justice is gathering today. So encourage you if you're interested, or just pop by and you can check in with leaders and say, can't today, but I want to know more about how to be involved in the work and what's happening out of this place. So opportunity for that. I'm really excited about this event, Mindfulness for Justice. So our partners, Jobs with Justice, which we heard from Lexi a few weeks ago, who is the field director. Jobs with Justice has space here in our building and does amazing work just on behalf of really how to come alongside people in meaningful ways to make sure that jobs have justice around labor, around wage, around payment, and are doing important things right now. This is a moment to literally come together and breathe. So there'll be Tai Chi, yoga, and there will be a meditation, a heart-opening meditation. And these are all partners from within National Avenue that already practice here that have said, yes, we would love to come together for this evening to share together in this. So yoga outside with Haley, who is our communications coordinator, Dee, who teaches Tai Chi in the gallery, and then, of course, the Ozark Dharma community meditation led in the parlor. Also, there will be tamales that are made in the kitchen. They're amazing, and margaritas. Not going to forget that this week. Alcoholic, non-alcoholic. So if yours is not to come for the first part, you can just come join for the happy hour, delicious food at 7 o'clock, and an opportunity to learn more about Jobs with Justice and support their work financially as well. So that is Tuesday, October 10th. If this is not yours to do, hopefully you have a friend that you can share about this opportunity and pass on as we bring together, again, breathing and mindfulness as we do our work for justice together. we have an opportunity, a reminder to bring a bar of soap. So as you're purchasing groceries, this is a chance to support Crosslines and our neighbors in need, to give them extra hygiene items that they're not able to get in addition to the food. So don't forget to bring a bar of soap with you to church or drop off in the office throughout the week. Bell Choir is in action. Check with Jean. I know they could fill in ringers, but we'll be playing in a couple of weeks, or maybe a month or so out. So there's still time if you're interested. Meet on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock for rehearsal. The NAACP, do we still have room at the table? I'm assuming that that's yes. So there's a link if you want to come. This is a sold-out event. So we found out this week that they have sold out, which I was like, heck yeah! So this will be a wonderful, wonderful gathering in our community, October 28th, and as a part of getting to sponsor this event, we have some seats at the table. So we hope that you might consider coming and joining and being at the table. So just check the link there or check with Ashley Quinn. Justice Collaborative meeting would be a good chance to ask more questions about that one. We're going to be 75, y'all. Happy birthday, church, the end of this month, right? That's a big one, a really good one to celebrate. So the end of this month will be a kickoff to that. I believe that's October 29th. So there's lots of ways we'll see over the next year that we will be celebrating that. So we've already heard from a few guests who have said, yes, I cannot wait to be here with you and celebrate. So that will be a fun and lively and celebratory day. There is a sign up for potluck, because that's part of how we do church is y'all make amazing food. So there will be this wonderful potluck afterwards, and there is a sign up in the gallery, and you'll see one go online as well. So hope you'll consider bringing a dish to share that day after church and begin signing up for that today. Then that night we get to share our Halloween festival. Some of us are getting ready already with our spooky things. So we look forward to sharing together at 5:30 that evening, chili cook-off. So you get to bring your favorite other dish and chili that day. This is, all the good food that day. And that, again, will be with our partners, the Discovery Garden kiddos, and some others within our midst. We do need candy, so if you're not able to come that evening, which you're really missing out, we encourage you to drop off some candy in the office to help to supply for a fun and wonderful evening. Our kids' options are changing. Pastor Jody just wisely has noticed there's a lot of exciting things that are growing and changing in our midst, and these are some really beautiful offerings that will address who we are and who we're becoming. So you'll notice some things about our nursery and then where our kiddos will be, and we're going to be seeing more of our kiddos in worship. And we're excited about that. They may bring some different voices and some different perspectives and movement that will be beautiful as a part of us being church together. And I look forward to their expressions. There is a new rocking chair in the back, because again, we just want to be attentive to different families and needs and who we are. So there's just a little bit about that and some of the things that are happening. If you have any questions, Pastor Jody will be back next week as we fully live into this new space. But just so excited about some of the folks. And I want to lift up Claudia just real quickly, who has sat with these kids in Uno. I don't know if you all know what they do. It says Uno, right? Which at first I was like, what? We play Uno. It's the most awesome thing, because the kids hear stories together, they play together, they practice kindness together, and then they hear the Lord's Prayer and they pray together. And holding this space, sometimes you can hear like the laughter and the loudness. It is just a beautiful thing in time of gathering, and I know my children look forward to it. So thank you, Claudia, for your work. So know that there are ways to plug in and connect and support this if you've been wondering about that. Again, to talk to Pastor Jody about some of the different things that are happening. Spiritual formation happens at 9 a.m. One time that we do this, but this is a regular practice. Disciples on the Edge are doing the sermon series theme right now, Native, and Coffee and Conversations. I think they're reading a different book, but soon we'll be reading this here, Flesh. So you can see Cassie for 2 weeks. So that one's coming up. So now is a good time to grab that book and get started. But you're welcome just to jump on in on Sunday mornings upstairs. We have an app. Boy, we have a lot of things today. So we've got an app. We've got an app for that. So if you haven't downloaded the app, there is the link to do that. Or if you have and you're like, I don't know how to use this, we want to teach you, because it is so wonderful. We have our directory on there. The calendar of events lives there. Ways to connect with one another. There's so many wonderful things, and a labor of love to put this together this summer. So just want to encourage you to download the app and then to come talk to us if you have questions about how to use it well. We'll say more about that in the coming weeks. Breakfast church is back next Sunday, so starting at 8:30, you can come on in and enjoy a wonderful time of gathering around the table with delicious foods. I heard pancakes are on the menu, so hope that you will be there next Sunday morning before church to share some amazing food together around the table. Okay, that's really it. Wow, church, you're all busy. You're busy. It's good stuff. Good stuff. In the midst of all of that, let us just take a moment to breathe together, to savor the goodness of the work we get to share, the ways we get to show up for and with one another, and the stories that we hear, that we hold, that speak to our lives and stir in us. Let's take us a moment to breathe it in, to hold it, and to release. Let us open our hearts as we hear stories from the gospel and good news, stories Jesus told his disciples and those who would listen. Let us listen together.
From the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 13. He said many things to them in parables. A farmer went out to scatter seed. As he was scattering seed, some fell on the path, and birds came and ate it. Others, seed, fell on rocky ground where the soil was shallow. They sprouted immediately because the soil wasn't deep. But when the sun came up, it scorched the plants, and they dried up because they had no roots. Other seed fell among thorny plants. The thorny plants grew and choked them. Other seed fell on good soil and bore fruit. In one case, a yield of 100 to 1. In another case, a yield of 60 to 1. And in another case, a yield of 30 to 1. Everyone who has ears should pay attention. Jesus' disciples came and said to him, "Why do you use parables when you speak to the crowds?" Jesus replied, "Because they haven't received the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but you have. For those who have will receive more, and they will have more than enough. But as for those who don't have, even the little they have will be taken away from them. This is why I speak to the crowds in parables. Although they see, they don't really see. Although they hear, they don't really hear or understand."
What Isaiah had prophesied has become completely true for them. You will hear, to be sure, but never understand. You will certainly see, but never recognize what you are seeing. For this people's senses have become calloused, and they become hard of hearing, and they've shut their eyes so that they won't see with their eyes or hear with their ears or understand with their minds and change their hearts and lives that I may heal them. Happy are your eyes because they see. Happy are your ears because they hear. I assure you that many prophets and righteous people wanted to see what you see and hear what you hear, but they didn't. A reading to ground us in our tradition as we learn and relearn our work in creation. Amen.
To join in prayer with our community this morning. I just wanted to give a note. This first section here comes from Candace Linkletter, aka the religious indigenous woman on the web. She is an Ililiu Cree from the Moose Cree First Nation on Treaty 9 territory. Yesterday was Orange Shirt Day, observed on National Truth and Reconciliation Day in Canada, after many additional atrocities regarding residential schools rose to national consciousness. There'll be more about that to come, but these are her words. I left the church, not because I long for sin, or I long for lust, or long for selfishness. I left because I long for truth. I long for love. I long for kindness, without the threat of hell. If I do not obey the way you want me to, I left because God creator, divine, spirit, must be bigger than your book and your building. I left for healing. I left for me. I left for those who couldn't. We join our voices together. Loving presence, luminous in all creation, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, may we reflect on earth the yielding perfection of the heavens. Help us to receive an illumined measure from the earth this day. Forgive us when we trespass against others, human and other than human, as we forgive others who trespass against us. Keep us on the path of wisdom when we are tempted to take the selfish path. May it be your rule we follow, your power we exercise, and your radiance that allures. May this be the truth that guides our lives from the ground with which our future will grow until we meet again. Amen.
I'm beginning to realize there are a few rhythms in my life that have become essential. Silence. It has become for me an essential rhythm. So on Wednesday, when I was unloading out of a van with 8 other pastors, please note there was a van and another car, so there were not 8 of us in one van. 8 other pastors from Bethany Fellows at Baker's Mountain Park to head up the red trail to the mountain overlook in silence, I thought, yeah, ooh, this is good. This is right. Until the other leader who was there on the ground with me, she went so fast up that mountain trail, she was like, she was trying to do it, in record speed or something. Thankfully, I got to take the sweeper position, so I was in the very back to keep track of everybody, so no one could hear my heavy breathing trying to get up the mountain. I was grateful to be in the cover of this beautiful forest on the mountainside and felt like I was missing everything because I was just focused, I gotta keep up with them. I can't fall behind. In silence, with these quick panting breath, I charged on the path until another one of the fellows slowed down a little bit. And I whispered this quiet prayer to myself saying, thank God for someone else going a little slower. After a while, my companion and I, we just let the rest of the group go. We fell back, and they looked at me and said, thank you for staying with me. And I said, thank you for slowing down. I needed that. I've never been so thankful for someone else's pace. But then they pointed up, and we saw these red tops of these trees and these leaves that were turning colors. Then they pointed down, and I took a look at those roots, the beautiful, intricate system that was happening there right in front of me, the one that I was just a few minutes ago trying really hard not to fall down. That was my whole goal before. Then we took a few more steps, and then we looked down again. And right in the center of our path was this mushroom. I have never seen anyone like it. You might notice it's on the front of your program. You can ooh and ah later. It doesn't quite capture the magic of this mushroom. But it was tucked next to this tree root. I was really surprised that someone hadn't come down the path and kicked it over. But it was this golden top, and there was just this really, I don't even know the stuff that was on top of it. It was just magical. Not in the way that sometimes we talk about magical mushrooms, right? Okay. My companion looked at me and said, there is this entire network beneath all of this. This mushroom is connected to other mushrooms and fungi. There's this whole thing happening underneath us. We can't even see it. Okay, I know what you're thinking. I said it was a day of silence, right? Okay. We've said it a few times before. Silence is more of a different kind of way of being quiet. It's about a posture. Sometimes it's slowing down. I think it's learning to keep paying attention. The church is called to pay attention and to practice this posture together. Lately, authors, poets, prophets, wayfinders, Caitlin Curtis, voices that have caused me to slow down, to look around, to be open to seeing something I was missing right there in my midst. She calls the church to pay attention. I think we have a track record of not paying attention as church, capital C. We have told stories and retold stories that have upheld systems of patriarchy. Okay, it's actually still happening sometimes, some places, right? Okay. We've told stories of colonization. Yeah, we still do that one too, right? White supremacy. Yes, okay. These are stories, so we know the work is before us. To listen well. To pay attention. We're going to find that in the news stories that we tell. And not just news stories. Sometimes it's news stories in conversation with old stories, which is where I love when we get to sit with Jesus stories, because Jesus told a lot of stories. That's what he did. Although I'm mindful, we've told and retold these stories in different cultures and different contexts, and I wonder if we miss that invitation that he pay attention. Pay attention. Now, Jesus was inviting a particular group of people to lean into their lives and their stories. I don't think he was worried about what was going to happen to those stories thousands of years down the road. Don't think that was on his radar. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's extra important that we do careful work to listen. I know many of you held a portion of the story, that first chunk of the story this past summer, that you sat with it and you engaged and you let your own stories dance with it. That is a work, I would say, that was taking these stories really seriously by engaging them in meaningful ways. So I just want to say thank you for your work, for paying attention to the stories and to the stories of your own life. It seems so important to me to note in this text that Jesus knows it's going to be a struggle to understand, right? He knows that people aren't going to get what he's saying. He knew that some of them just could not understand, or they couldn't pay attention. I know he says all these pieces about we can't fully hear, those aren't going to really be able to see, and he makes it clear, like he pulls back and says, Isaiah, one of our authoritative texts, even knew, right? So he's like really trying to get their attention with this one. And yet he knows that these stories are a matter of the heart. It is hard to hear stories inviting us to live radical love and do this work that point us toward this new way of loving and being if our hearts are not open. And more than not open, if they are like closed and firmly just trying to uphold something else, if they are stuck. So we need stories, especially those stories from those on the margins who know what needs to be done. And we need rituals that will disrupt us and force us to just stop. Maybe we need that person just in front of us to go a little bit slower to remind us to slow down. Caitlin Curtis, she calls us to the central act in our community life, the communion table. And she does it in ways that I suspect many of us would read her words and say, yes, yes, amen, amen. So I want you to hear her invitation to us, just a short piece out of her book, Native. The communion table of the church should meet us both inside and outside of the church's doors, so that our own table should be set to welcome a stranger and to go outside to meet strangers in our midst. Decolonizing our table means recognizing that sacredness moves and breathes all over the place in all people, in all creatures, in all things. So communion becomes the space where we say to everyone and everything, you are loved. She invites us to hear, to see, and to meet stories of disruption with open hearts. Caitlin Curtis, calls us to see power, and I do not use that word lightly, of our shared practice of communion, a ceremony, she calls it. She reconciles the tables in the churches and calls us to claim tables wherever we are. She writes, she asks, what if communion is found in the sacred places that have always held room for us? She says, the trees have always said, come, sit in my shade and rest. The water says that, come, bathe, drink, be refreshed. The grasses that say, come and dance with me, and the seasons that say, come, learn what it means to live a whole life. She continues, this is what I hear when I go outside. This is what my ancestors experienced when they communed by the maple trees and tended to the wild rice stalks rising out of the water. Nature calls us to pay attention and to move into deeper communion. Last week, Robin Wall Kimmerer wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times entitled, "The Turtle Mothers Have Come Ashore to Ask About an Unpaid Debt." You may remember this name, Dr. Kimmerer's name. We shared her work a few years ago in a book called Braiding Sweetgrass, which is one, if you have not read, I would highly, highly recommend. The book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Woman, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of the Plants. She is a plant ecologist and a professor and spends her summers at Cranberry Lake Biological Station. So she wrote in this piece about every year she looks for Mother Turtle, who teaches her, or her teacher, she says, who brings her eggs. So the mother comes up to the volleyball court and lays her eggs because this mother is looking for a safe place for her eggs to take refuge and grow. She says every year, because they love playing volleyball, they carefully pick up the eggs and they relocate them to a safe place. Dr. Kimmerer writes, she and I, this turtle, we go back a long time to a story we both remember, a creation story of my people, the Potawatomi. This is a story of how the troubled world was cleansed by a great flood and our new home was made on the back of a turtle who gave herself so we might live. It was the gifts of the animals and the seeds of the plants who made this paradise. This turtle reminds me that I owe my small human life the generosity of more than human beings with whom we share this precious land. The earth was made not alone, but out of the alchemy of two essential elements, gratitude for her gifts and the covenant of reciprocity. Together they formed what we know today as Turtle Island, or North America. In return for their gifts, it's time that we give ours in return. She said something has changed in the past few years. It's no longer one turtle mother. There was one year there were two, but now there are many. There are many turtle mothers who are come ashore so much further to this volleyball court, way away from where they lay their eggs, seeking refuge. The conditions where they have laid their eggs are no longer safe for their babies to survive. Dr. Kimmerer tells us the turtles are asking more of us in this moment. She writes, I think the turtles headed for higher ground with kind of a desperation to ask us, pay attention, to see that we teeter on the brink of climate catastrophe with our planet, and animal relatives are disappearing in waves of extinction. Science, armed with models to predict the coming change, is a powerful tool for addressing these cries, but it is not the only one. She writes, as a scientist, I hear the indisputable data and also a message, simultaneously material and spiritual, carried by snapping turtles. The earth asks more of us than gratitude. The earth asks more of us than gratitude. It invites us to open our hearts wide, wider than wide, to draw connection to the table, to commune beyond what we have imagined, to see the wonder in our midst. These entire systems that are happening underneath our feet that we miss all the time, that these trees that are there waiting, turtles showing up on shore asking for our help. Church, may we listen. I want to close with her words, her closing reminder of her piece and her invitation to us. She writes, we humans carry gifts of our own. We are scientists and storytellers. We are change makers. We are earth shapers riding on the back of the turtle. We are called upon to resist the forces of destruction, to give our gifts, first to imagine, then to enact a world whole and healed. When the turtles come among us, asking for our help, we must remember, at the beginning of the world, they were our raft, and now We must be theirs. May it be so.
See your little bald head. We got Dave's like, really, Dena? Okay, so a few weeks ago, a few weeks ago, Dave came up here and he shared a parable. Would it be a parable with us? You know what, here, I'm going to tell you what he said. Basically, in a Reader's Digest version, he talked about how, hold on, I'm going to find it. There was a river, and on that river was a waterfall, right? And And there I was at the bottom where all the bodies were. Who knew? And I thought about that this past week as I got ready to celebrate TCG's 5th birthday last night, which was, it was nice. It was really, really, really nice. But also during that really, really nice time came this past week numbers and records that I never wanted to share with my family and my friends here today. We've had records of 128 people in one day come in. On Saturday, we made pancakes. We flipped pancakes for the 5th birthday. It was a lot of pancakes. So we're out of pancake mix. Jean, whoever I need to tell, we're totally out. But 98 people we fed on Saturday morning with pancakes. I know that there are people like Hill and Jenn and Ashley that are gonna go to the top. They're gonna go to the city and say, what in the hell are you doing? Because you're not doing anything. And you can't, thank you, rent, you can't quietly sweep away 3,000 people. You just can't. And so while I trust you guys to go up to the top and fight, I need people down here with the bodies. It's hard to check in a family with twin 3 months old and have nowhere. Other churches have opened up their parking lots so the families can stay in safe parking lots like the venues. You ready for this? We partnered with Springfield PD. They're gonna come and monitor, make sure everybody's safe. But at the rate that we're going, this little outreach center, and please understand, there's like 12 people, you guys, 12 people running a little outreach center. And everyone is not gonna fit into these systems that we have here. And they're our neighbors, and they're part of this community. This morning's offering will be given and received. Thank you.
we come to you on this morning with grateful hearts. We come with gratitude for the times of blessing when good things fill our lives. We come also with gratitude for the times of challenge that help us to reset, reevaluate, and change. Thank you for the space we have to ask questions, easy and hard. Thank you for the grace given to try new ways and to make mistakes without judgment. Thank you for a safe space to heal, grow, rest. Just thank you. Amen.
Amen.
The communion table, you can sit. I'm sorry, yes. Please be seated. The communion table is a table that speaks on social issues of oppression. This means that the communion table is a table set for those no one else wants to serve. The communion table is a table for all bodies and all souls and all people seeking to know what it means to feel the sacred pulse of mystery around us and in us.
If we are to believe that the inclusive love of God is real, we'd better start building a bigger table.
What if communion is also found in the sacred places that have always held room for us? The trees that have always said, "Come, sit in my shade and rest." The water that says, "Come,
bathe and drink and be refreshed."
The grasses that say,
Come and dance with me.
And the seasons that say,
Come, learn what it means to live a whole life.
This is what I hear when I go outside. This is what my ancestors experienced when they communed by the maple trees and tended to the wild rice stalks rising out of the water.
As we gather together to share and eat food, we also remember the stories around all the meals in the wisdom tradition of the Galilean sage we call Jesus. Born of a woman and the Hebrew gene pool, he was a creature of earth, a moment in the biological evolution of this planet. Like all human beings, he carried within himself the signature of supernovas and the geology and the life history of the entire earth. For just as the Milky Way is the universe in the form of a galaxy, and the wedged-tail eagle is the universe in the form of a bird, he was, and we are, the universe in the form of a human. May we care for our planet. May we nurture this piece of stardust. May we celebrate with the cosmos. And so we remember the living tradition, how during a meal bread would be taken, and after Thanksgiving it be broken and shared both with friend and stranger. This piece of bread is the body of the whole cosmos. Looking deeply, and you notice the sunshine in the bread, the blue sky in the bread, the clouds and the great earth in the bread. The whole cosmos has come together to bring us this piece of bread. After conversation, some wine would be taken, thanks would be given for it, and poured out and shared with all of those present. Bread and the cup, elements for life on earth.
In sharing this banquet, we in our time and place enter into a new relationship with sacred wisdom, with the planet, and with one another. To
feel our kinship with all life.
To raise our voice in the service of life.
To love kindness and to seek justice.
To live in harmony
And awaken to peace.
May we sense the wonder of what might yet be.
We are part of earth. Earth is a part of us.
And as we consider this earth our home, may we continue to walk upon it gently and with reverence.
Would you pray with me? God, may the song we heard become our prayer, that at this table, everyone is welcome. At this table, everyone is safe. at this table everyone is fed. May this be the calling of our hearts, now and from this day forward. Amen.
It is such a gift to be in this space, to wrestle with our questions, to consider what it is to open our hearts wider. A huge thanks to all who make that happen today, to music, worship leading, sharing stories, Dena, to technology that holds such an important space in this place, to each of you who held trays, and again, to each of you who are present to one another and open. It is a gift. A reminder, Justice Collaborative will be in the parlor. If you're a deacon, you may have gone, I thought we were in the parlor. Stay put if you're a deacon. We're going to meet in this space for just a brief meeting. So there are lovely cake, coffee, tea, treats. I hope you will consider lingering for a few moments in conversation in the gallery, or take that on to the place where you're going to be this morning. And if you're open to go, maybe we'll find a mushroom today on our creation walk. I don't know. 1 o'clock, just a reminder, we'll gather for a creation walk at the Nature Center. Let us stand and join our voices once more as we prepare to leave this space and time together, as we sing, "We Are Not Our Own." May we not be afraid to claim the power God has given us, to recognize the wisdom of God in all of creation, and to practice authority that calls us to brave convictions that guide our lives, that our lives may be guided not by dictations from on high, but by lineages of love and liberation, calling on us to live. May it be so. May we make it so.